comprehensive briefing. Since our last open debate, the Middle East has continued to grapple with escalating conflict, humanitarian suffering, and tragic loss of life. From a devastating humanitarian situation in Gaza to the unprecedented military escalation between Israel and Iran in light of Iran's accelerated nuclear trajectory. From the resumption of Houthi attacks against commercial shipping in the Red Sea to their continuous attack against Israel and its subsequent responses. Most recently, the fighting in the Soweto province of Syria and Israel's strikes against Syrian territory. We must do all we can to prevent further escalation and a wider regional war. For stability to be restored in the Middle East, all parties must exercise utmost restraint and recommit to diplomacy. The situation is simply too fragile and too dangerous. Mr. President, we are convening today less than 1 week ahead of the high-level conference on the two-state solution, a conference that has the potential to advance concrete solutions for Israelis and Palestinians alike. It takes place against a backdrop of appalling levels of human suffering in Gaza, the continued agony of Israeli hostages and their families, and a further deterioration in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. We deplore the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza, where the population has been squeezed into less than 14% of the territory. Their reality is one of imminent death by hostilities, starvation, or disease. A daily spectre of not knowing what to fear the most, dying from starvation or from seeking food. Most recently, civilians in northern Gaza were attacked while seeking aid from a coordinated WFP convoy. We strongly condemn all attacks on civilians seeking to obtain humanitarian aid. This needs to stop. Denmark's position is clear. Civilians, including humanitarians and UN personnel, as well as civilian infrastructure, must be protected in accordance with international law. We are deeply concerned by Israel's new evacuation orders encompassing the UN compound in Gaza, as well as the recent attacks on a warehouse and facility sheltering WHO staff. All UN premises are inviolable and must be protected. Humanitarian aid must flow freely, safely, and at scale into Gaza, in line with international humanitarian law. We have heard time and time again that the UN and its partners are ready to deliver. They must be allowed to do so. And the UN, including OCHA, has our full support. The vilification of UN organizations and rejections of visas for senior UN staff are in no one's interest. And until a two-state solution is realized, UNRWA continues to be uniquely mandated by the General Assembly to deliver essential state-like services to Palestine refugees. Denmark continues to call for an immediate and lasting ceasefire and for the immediate, unconditional, and dignified release of all hostages kept by Hamas. We reiterate that Hamas can never be allowed to play a role in the future of Gaza. Mr. President, developments in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, are further jeopardizing the prospects of a two-state solution. They must not be ignored. Denmark condemns the continuing acceleration of settlement construction and intensification of settler attacks against Palestinians. Just last month, Israeli settlers endured as many as 100 Palestinians, the highest monthly figure since OCHA began documenting casualties in 2005. We reiterate that all Israeli settlements are a clear violation of international law and call on the Israeli authorities to cease all further expansions and hold settlers accountable for their crimes. In this regard, we strongly oppose Israel's decision to assume the long-stalled E1 settlement expansion plan, which was add more than 3,400 new units and essentially cut the West Bank in two. We reiterate that resolutions of this Council, including 2334, are not merely words on paper. They must be fully implemented. Mr. President, in closing, as we look to the next week's high-level conference, it is critical for the international community to come together to advance concrete measures for the implementation of a two-state solution. This remains the only viable path to sustainable peace in the Middle East and a future where Palestinians and Israelis live side by side in peace and security. Meanwhile, we need to continue to work for de-escalation and lasting peace in the wider region. Denmark looks forward to contributing constructively to these ends. I thank you.
Thank you, Madam Representative of Denmark. I would now give the floor to Representative of China.
Thank you, President. I welcome your presence, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Dar, and presiding over the meeting.